All right, the hometown team, the Portland Trailblazers, Friday and yesterday had a pair of games after a long layoff. 2-point loss to the Spurs, 118-116.
Mm-hmm.
Bob on the YouTube chat said, just don't come on here and say that was a good loss on Friday. That was a brutal. And that one was on the coach, in my opinion, as he made some terrible decisions in the fourth quarter of that one. I will not make you happy, Bob. Good loss.
I mean,
I think those coaching ones, you don't want to win it.
Yeah, no.
I'm okay with it.
It's the holistic air quotes good loss. But
Yeah.
no, I mean there's a couple different ways to slice this, and this is the same thing. I mentioned this in the post game. The same thing I said about Terry, I'll say about Chauncey. The Blazers have that 46-point third quarter, one of the best quarters, frankly, they've had in franchise history. They go absolutely bonkers. Jeremy Grant goes for 22.
That was fun to see.
You know,
in the third quarter, too.
Yeah.
Blazers being good in the third quarter?
Crazy.
What?
Denny Avdija has 11 in the quarter, goes 5 of 5. Like a million good things are happening, right? They go from being down 10 to up. And I'll say this, like I said, I'd say it for Terry, I'll say it for Chauncey, I'll say it for every coach. Does he get the credit for getting that there, or does he get the blame for blowing it down the stretch? Because it's both.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody ever wants to do the former. They always want to do the latter. Nobody wants to talk about, getting the credit for building up a lead. They want to, give the blame for losing it. And it was a bad loss because they were up 17.
Bad loss.
I don't think you can point to the micro stuff of like, did Chauncey challenging the call on Jeremy, was that a bad call? Yes. But you know what you also could have done in between there? A million different things. Hit a shot down the stretch, for the love of God.
Yeah, I was going to say, a team that doesn't make shots at all.
I mean,
we've gone over this so many times. They're one of the worst 2-point shooting teams in the entire NBA.
And the other part of this is, and I will say this on every single night, sometimes you can just give credit to an opponent. Wemby was great.
No, I don't want to do that.
Devin Vassell was great. Julian Champagny was great in the fourth quarter.
I'm not used to saying that Victor Wembanyama was great.
Right. But you can also say that Chauncey did absolutely get that wrong. Because there was a 0% chance he was going to get that. That call was not getting overturned. It was a dumb call. It's a call that doesn't get made.
Yeah.
Like it's a very ticky-tack call that you don't normally see made at that point during the game. But the second it's made, you just got to send it. You just deal with it, and Vic hits the free throws. They would have tied it or gone up 2. I can't remember what that was on Friday night. But competitive in the game. They go from being down 10 to being up 17 to 27-point swing, which if you can get a 27-point swing, so can your opponent.
Yeah.
That's like the modern NBA. That's
game of runs, baby.
That's just kind of what this is. It doesn't dismiss anything or uplift anything. It's just that's kind of what it is. Like, but would you have liked to get a win there? Because you're now, after Sunday's game, you lose to the Suns. You've now lost 6 straight. Like, this is what we talk about. Like, do you want to be the team like the Wizards who loses 16 in a row? Which the Blazers play the Nuggets and the Mavs over the next 2 games. You think they're winning those games? Probably not. I mean, the Nuggets aren't very good, but also they're better than the Blazers. But, I mean, this is where I was like, just chill on are the Blazers winning too many games stuff. They are 8-18. Where we talked about, like, I think through their first 30 games, they're going to win 7 or 8 games. If they lose their next 2 games, Dusty, they're 8-20, and you're right there. You're right. Even though they won those early games, they're still right on pace for kind of what everybody expected. Because they had a couple things go their way. They've now had a couple things maybe not go their way, and they're probably balanced out with where we expect things to be.
I will say that this team is like, they've had a couple of the inexcusable losses, right? We've talked about
God,
this.
yes.
Overall, though, what we've seen is a team that is far more competitive, and I think that's what we saw in the last 2 games. And then yesterday against the Suns,
They just get out-talented.
Yeah, and that is going to happen. I mean, and this goes to, if you have problems with Chauncey Billups as the coach, look, I'm okay with the folks that want to sit there and say, coaching is a problem, coaching is an issue. I will also come to bat for Chauncey Billups and say, when you have a talent deficiency, that is an issue. What we are seeing is we're seeing players improve. With the exception of maybe Scoot in the development that we have not seen
Yeah.
from him. We've seen a lot of growth from a lot of young players, and guys are still playing hard. They're just not going to win a lot of games because they're just not very good.
No, I mean,
And if you want to put a little bit of that coach, like on Friday night, sure, go ahead. But you won't find a coach in the NBA that doesn't have some of those games. Even the best coaches in the NBA has games where their fan base comes at them and says, that was a stupid decision.
I mean,
What were you doing?
Spo and Kerr have both had like full-on meltdowns.
And that doesn't mean that Chauncey Billups is Spo or Kerr.
No.
But you know what it means? They all have them.
Yeah.
This team has a talent deficiency. So when you have a coaching decision that goes the wrong way, it is amplified.
Yes.
And
And look,
that's all right.
Chauncey Billups has not been great on challenging calls.
No.
It's just not.
Turns out not a lot of coaches are.
No, very, very, very few are.
Yeah.
The ones who do get it right, man, they do it really well though.
Yeah.
Like they do.
All right.
Quinn Snyder's a guy that does that.
That's a weekend I'm not going to be discouraged about. Though.
No.
Lose by 2, then lose by 5
Yeah, they closed it up. It was
or 6, 7.
the margin
by
was
7.
tighter than the actual game was because the Blazers hit a couple threes to close the gap and make it
Lost by 7.
kind of a fake run.
But you know what? That's fine. That's what I want to see, though. I want to see the fake runs against good teams where it's a respectable number at the end. I'm okay losing by 7.
That's fair.
That's fine.
It makes it look better, certainly for
Yeah.
sure. On the kind of the growth curve stuff, Donovan comes back. Rob Williams comes back. Like you're getting the opportunities for those guys. Denny Avdia has been really good now for the last probably 3 weeks. You're seeing the version of him that the Blazers envisioned when they traded for him.
Yeah.
Jeremy Grant is finding his game. Anthony Simons is finding his game. Even though Shaden Sharp, that was definitely
I heard it.
Yep, that
I
happened.
heard it.
Even though Shaden Sharp's 3-point shooting has struggled, the aggressiveness has started to show a little bit at times, which is that's the drum I've been beating all season of like, look, man, everybody gets frustrated and well, Ant takes too many shots. Jeremy takes too many shots. Like there are shots there for Shaden Sharp to take. He needs to take them. He needs to be more aggressive. And you're starting to see a little bit of that, like a little bit of an inkling of that. So that's kind of something to monitor.
One thing that we probably need to start talking about here.
Mm.
You and I had some interesting conversations with guys from other markets.
Oh, yes.
And then after the shot that he made on Saturday,
Mm.
is Dylan Harper maybe the best player in college basketball?
Well,
I think we should have that on Tuesday. We got a lot of football
We do.
today. But dude's averaging 24 a game.
Yeah, he's really good. That's why I've got him number 2 on my board.
Yeah.
And maybe another one we could talk about. There's been some news, rumory mill stuff around Zion Williamson and whether or not maybe the Blazers should kick around the idea of swapping Zion for DA.
Oh. Makes my brain hurt.
Yeah, the NBA is going to get real
Awesome.
weird.